and ask our chaplain if he would open our meeting with prayer.
Pray for rain today. Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for this day and thank you for the opportunity to come and share fellowship and make decisions, dear Lord, that will be pleasing in your sight. We ask you now to just touch every person that's come to this meeting. Draw us closer to you so we will give you all the honor and glory for everything in our lives. We ask you now, dear Lord, that you just continue to send a little rain for our community. So many people have probably the gifts up some of their crops, dear Lord. We just ask that you just continue to bless us and maybe it'll be better tomorrow. Use us to do your will in everything we say and do. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Freedom of Information announcement. In accordance with the South Carolina Code of Laws 1976 is amended. The Marion Star Mullins Enterprise has been notified of date, time, place, and agenda of this meeting. Item 4, approval of minutes dated June 27th.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. The ayes have it. Do we have any resolutions?
I'm not aware of anything new we have.
Ordinances.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, we're still on hold for third reading for this one. The public hearing has been noticed for the July 25th meeting. So we'll do third reading on that one that evening.
All right, item 7, committee reports. As far as I know, committee number 1 has nothing before it.
That's correct.
Committee number 2, Mr. Tenney,
Has nothing, Mr. Chair.
legal update.
I don't have anything in this section, but I do have 2 items covered by attorney-client privilege to discuss in executive session, please.
Ms. Mindy Taylor, Duke Energy. Check presentation.
Give them the need to go. Yes, I kind of see a little bit of that's some travel side there. You're not traveling.
Sir.
No, sir.
Take it. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of council. I'm Mindy Taylor and I'm with Duke Energy, and it's my pleasure to be here with you today. Last month, Duke Energy in South Carolina announced $500,000 in micro grants for organizations across the state to help them become more resilient and respond to significant weather events. And I personally like this grant cycle because I think it's a real investment in our communities. It's a partnership with our fellow first responders, again, to help them become more resilient, to be able to prepare for and respond to the significant weather events that we have. Last year, I was here before you, and Marion County had received a grant to help purchase portable phone charging stations for the shelters. And this year, I'm pleased to tell you that Marion County will be the recipient of a $20,000 grant from the Duke Energy Foundation, and that's to purchase the portable lighting tree, I guess, if you will, that you see before you. And Justin can kind of share with you all the opportunities that he may have to be able to utilize that. But on behalf of Duke Energy, let me tell you how pleased I am to be here today to share this news with you on this $20,000 grant.
So I gave y'all the spec sheets, as you can see. So it is 100% battery powered. It takes 13 and a half hours to charge. Also at 100% illumination, it runs 21 and a half hours. So there's multiple uses you can get out of something with zero emissions like this. If we have to open up shelters, we can always put it inside. We don't have to worry about emissions for our people. We can use it for on-scene lighting, search and rescue missions, our CPOD sites. You know, there's plenty of uses we can get out of something like this. That's pretty much all there is to it.
And Justin, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Oh, I'm Justin Turner, the Emergency Management Director.
Justin, is this like how I have a generator?
So no, it is not a generator itself, but it acts sort of like one. You charge it and you know, you can take it to different places. Any more
Mindy,
questions?
we thank you very much.
Yeah,
Duke
thank
has always been a good partner with Marion County, and we appreciate what y'all do. Thank you very much.
You all need to get a picture, need to get a photo.
Hold on, check.
Yeah. It's a picture taken. This, I'll have it in the back. Where the other sort of gets on that.
I'm sorry, you gotta lower it, I'm vertically challenged.
Wow. I'm Tim, Mr. Bobby Page. CTC update.
Good morning, everyone. Mr. Chairman, members of the council, Ms. Chavis, thank y'all for the opportunity to be here this morning. I stood here a year ago and I kind of want to go down memory lane just a little bit to kind of refresh everybody's memory. But if you think about when I made my presentation, I started sharing with you that we've got 5 different governments in Marion County. We got Marion, Mullins, Nichols, the state, and the county. And all 5 governments were going to the CTC asking for funding for different projects. And what we realized at that time is a lot of times the projects would be small projects and it was hard to get bidding on them. It was hard to really attract contractors to be able to bid. And whenever they did bid on it, we were really taken advantage of because they were small and they would move in. So I came up with the idea of looking around and seeing how other CTCs and other places were working. And I shared with you, if you give me an opportunity to be able to represent Marion County and be the project manager for the CTC, that what we would do is take these projects and I would bundle them together. We packaged them together for the purpose of bidding, where we could attract better bids, lower bids, and hopefully get a bid, because there was some, even in the situation over in Marion, Mullins, on the James Street project, we had a hard time even getting a bid on it. So I'm hoping as we go through this review, you'll kind of see that this past year's, in my opinion, has been pretty successful. On page 2, you see the annual review, 2023 to 2024. So as I got started in July, in the next 2 months, in August and September, what I did is I took the CTC statement. That statement shares with us all of the projects that have been programmed, what's active, what's not active, and everything. And so I sat down and I looked with the city of Marion, Mullins, and the county, and we identified projects that were just sitting there dormant. They hadn't been closed out yet for whatever reason. We looked at it. What I wanted to do was close those projects out and roll that money back over into the uncommitted balance, but we didn't want to do that in case there was an outstanding invoice that needed to be filed against them. But at the end of the day, what we were able to do was recover $457,719, and that was during that the first part of last year, and I say the fiscal year, in August and September. Also, during that period of time, if you'll flip over, during August and September, I was working with the state, Corey Johnson, working with Dow in the county, trying to come up with projects. And what we came up with for the October CTC meeting, we were able to fund Sunny Road, which is in the Britton's Neck community, with Lacucci Avenue, Cherry Street, and Marion Street. And you can see that that project came out to $2,742,988. when we have a project like that, and the good thing that what I found out a little bit later into the program is not only were we bundling, but whenever we sent the projects over to the district office in Florence with Travis in the engineering department, that they were piggybacking and they were bundling at the same time with Erie County. So we got Marion County doing what we're doing, and then the state doing what they're doing and bundling these projects, trying to make sure that these projects are attractive enough that we can get competitive bids on them. This was in the October meeting. Also in that same meeting, we appropriated $51,800, which was allocated to put stone-based material on a community up in the Nichols area, Cactus Court, Broomstraw, Sandy Ridge, and Jones Nichols Loop. Matter of fact, I thought it was good because I got a phone call one Saturday morning after the project was complete from one of our council members, and he said, man, this looks great. Community is happy. The people are excited about it. And matter of fact, that dump truck, and I know it's in black and white, but that dump truck and that stone-based material, that's our work. That's our county folks doing their work the way we should be getting it done. Also in that October meeting, we appropriated $102,554, which was allocated for milled asphalt to go on Britt Loop and to finish out Locust Tree Court. And actually you see the motor grader, that's Reese, and the dump trucks putting that milled asphalt down on the roads. As we move into January, that was October meetings, so and we have meetings every quarter, and it gives me a couple of months to be able to get these projects together. So as I'm moving into the January meeting during October, November, working closely with Dow and the county, looking at different projects, riding around, you'll see on this page right here that during that meeting, we purchased $20,000 of stone-based material. Dow said in the past they were buying $5,000 at a time. They were going to Vulcan out here at Rains and paying $25, $28, $30 a ton to be able to get just a little bit of material. And I told him, I said, well, let's go ahead and find out how much you want to buy, and we'll stockpile it out here behind his office. And so what we did is we bought $20,000 of stone-based material, and that was stockpiled. The next line item you see there is we were riding around the county looking at our ditching project, digging these outfall ditches. And when I say outfall ditches, these are the ditches that carry the water away from the right-of-ways into the swamps, into the rivers. And Dow was telling me that we need as much funding as we can get for that. And the question was, well, how much? And he said, well, I asked him, I said, how much do you budget per year? And he said 30,000. So we matched that digging budget. We matched the $30,000 for the outfall. And it's interesting. You see, I've got $2.25 a foot there. When we bidded this out, the bids came in at $4 and something a foot. Another bid came in at $2 a square foot. So you looking at if a ditch is 3 foot wide, that would have been $6 a square foot. And where we settled in at, the contractor who won the bid was at $2.25 a foot. And I think that is a great deal in what we're doing there. We also bought $19,866 worth of drain pipes, and it's got those stockpiled so that we can use those on our roads. And then the next thing was riding around looking at sand pits, trying to find sand to be able to go on these dirt roads, whether it's sand or sand clay. We purchased $20,000 in sand from a local pit. And then the next thing is $50,000, which was 100 truckloads of milled asphalt. And these are local. When I say local projects and state projects, there's a significant difference, and I'll point it out in just a little bit. But that was $149,866 in that January meeting. And let me go ahead and mention this, and I'm proud of this right here. Matter of fact, John Q can make a comment on this if he wants to when I get through. But up in North Marion, there was a subdivision 501 above the Dollar General. We were able to put milled asphalt on Jason Court, Wesley Court, Granger Road, Faith, and Jamie. When you look, you see that picture right there, that's my truck. And that is a picture of the milled asphalt that has gone down on that subdivision. That was 1.3 miles of milled asphalt that we were able to put down. And you'll see why we were able to do that in just a little bit. But when I got through with that project where we were riding around, I looked at it, I said, this is where we need to be at. you know, the stone-based material works good. But if we can get access to this milled asphalt, that's what my goal is, just try to put as much of this on each one of the dirt roads as possible. And I told Chavis when I was sitting in her office, I said, the only problem we're going to have is we go in a subdivision, and y'all need to be aware of this. Y'all need to make sure that you hear what I'm saying. Is if we don't have enough material to cover every road when we go into that subdivision, the phones are going to blow up. Why isn't my road being done? And so what we're trying to do is to make sure that we have the materials to be able to cover all the roads. And even in this one subdivision right here, there was one road left out. And the reason it was left out is because we don't have the easements on it. We don't own the road. We don't have the right of ways. And I'm hoping what this will do when somebody sees that we're resurfacing these roads with this milled asphalt or the stone-based material, if they want the same thing, then they need to get motivated enough to come see Jonathan and get these easements done, which is a problem. Analysis of the breakdown of the funds allocated. When I was telling you state projects versus local projects, you'll see that in the city, the state projects, we programmed $2,896,753, and these were in the city limits of Marion and Mullins. In the county state projects, we programmed $2,887,423. And in local projects, which are right here and with our dirt roads and our local projects that we're having outside of the state system, was $294,220,000. When I took the position of Marion County CTC project manager, Sand Hill Road and Brantwood had already been developed. And the reason I put this in this report is to remind me that these two projects slipped through the cracks. There was nobody watching the store. It wasn't anybody's fault. That's just the way it was. With that $1.5 million project on Sand Hill, I've had to go back and add $63,000 more to it because it didn't get bidded out in time and didn't get awarded to a contractor so we could lock in that bid. It's important that we manage these projects so that whenever we bid them out, we can award them to a contractor and we can lock those prices in to where inflation don't eat us up because it's just sitting there. But I just wanted to point that out, that these state projects take some time for them to come to completion. And and they still have not been done yet. So a breakdown into cost. This is the savings in our asphalt. When I first got started, when I came on the scene in July of last year, Dow can vouch for this. We were paying like $45 per ton for asphalt, which equated to $900 a truckload. We've been able to get that down to $32.50 a ton, which is $650 a truckload, which is $12.50 per ton savings. That $650 mark is where we're at. That's basically a retail price to where you could go into any stockyard and be able to buy it today. It doesn't matter what day it is, you'll be able to buy it at $650 a truckload. But that's still down from $900 a truckload. So with $12.50 per ton saving, we purchased 3,154 tons at a $12.50 saving. Just in that alone was $39,425 savings. If we move over to the next page, the reason I wanted to do it per truckload is because we've been fortunate enough to be able to buy some milled asphalt straight from vendors who have already purchased it from Palmetto or Boggs or King's Asphalt. And the first time we were able to purchase milled asphalt, and the reason we were able to do that is because we got ourselves in a position with the CTC to be able to negotiate directly with that vendor and allowed us to be able to buy it on the spot. And so what we did, we were able to purchase 100 truckloads at $500 a load instead of the $900 or $650 a load. That saved us $40,000. The next, and the same vendor, we were able to buy 60 truckloads. The difference between the 400 and the 500 is that we had to load it ourselves. But that still saved us $30,000 in milled asphalt. And this 100 loads that you see next, I'm excited about that because we just negotiated this deal. And Dow, with his ear on the ground, doing a great job, calls me up and he said, let's ride over to Florence. I found some milled asphalt we need to look at. And I asked him, how much are they wanting for it? He said anywhere from $350 to $400 a load. And I'm going and looking at the asphalt where they had milled the Florence airport all of that milling that's on the left over there. After you pass the baseball field, we purchased all of that over there. And we were able to negotiate with him for $300 a load. When we're getting at $300 a load, that's cheaper than the stone-based material. And that's where we need to be at if we can find this material. And kudos to Dal and his teams for being able to help us to be able to find this. The total savings with the asphalt, with us being able to purchase it and matter of fact, somebody just asked me, he said, how were you able to do that? How were you able to get it down? And it's because getting the CTC in a position to where we could buy it on the spot, because I was able to sit there and look at that vendor and said, if we buy all of it, how much would you sell it to us for? And we were able to buy it on the spot, which is a great thing. So we were able to save $174,425. The stone-based material, which are the rocks that goes on the dirt roads. When we started out, we were paying $25 a ton, and we've got that down to $16.80 a ton, which is an $8.20 savings. The bottom line on that was we were able to save $25,000 in stone-based material. And we've already been informed that stone-based material is going to probably go up to about $18.75 a ton. So inflation is just, it's hitting. And what we're trying to do is to make sure we can save everywhere we can. So the purchase and the stone-based material along with the milled asphalt, the total savings for last year from July to this year, this July is $199,436. And that just represents local projects. That does not represent our state projects. None of our state projects have been completed yet. I told y'all when I first got started, and you see the comments on there, that it would take anywhere from 18 to 24 months for the state projects to be completed. And I won't realize what kind of savings this is until we see the bids when they come in and see what the completed project is going to look like. So that's a work in progress. But I like the state doing it when they come in, when they do it, they do a great job and they'll take care of everything. Over on the next page is coming up on our July 2024 meeting. I'm preparing a sidewalk project along with a countywide sign project, and Jonathan's working with me getting the sign orders up for all of the signs in the county and working with TARS and the city of Marion on the sidewalk projects and trying to get that done. My goal for next year for 2024-25, if y'all allow me to continue to operate in the capacity I'm in, is to concentrate primarily on our local projects. And what I mean by that is place as much stone-based material as we can actually purchase or the milled asphalt on these dirt roads as much as possible, and to be able to assist with the administrators in the cities and in the counties. And one thing I want to share with you is one thing I told y'all from the very beginning, I didn't want to go get in somebody else's sandbox. So I'm working closely with Alan Ammons, TARS, and Dow, and the administrators, and they were prioritizing. They would call me up and say, hey, how about go look at this project over here, this project, and we'll work together. But I got to give Dow kudos. You see, matter of fact, I took a copy of this, which I didn't mean to, but you'll see a note that I have written on there. I was talking with the chairman of the CTC, Irvin Dillon, and he was telling me that they've scratched their rocking project because they just can't get it done. And they've hired a firm out of Columbia to come in and do exactly what I'm doing right here. And when I thought about what he told me, I got to give Dal and this team credit, because we've been able to take care of our rocking projects in-house, whether it's the stone-based material or the asphalt. And John Q, I'm gonna ask you, what was your opinion about the subdivision here where we put this asphalt down? Matter of fact, I was so excited about it. I took videos and sent it to Chavis and said, this is where we need to be at with all of our roads as much as possible. So that's all I have. If y'all got any questions, if not, thank you for your time.
Thank you for what you're doing. And it looks to me like with all these savings, add them all up together, that's close to your salary. So
Yeah, it's getting close. It's not there yet. It's getting there.
so we made the right decision and we're saving Marion County money.
And one thing too, when I look back in that January meeting, the piping, the sand and all of that typically would have come out of Dow's budget. And what we've been able to do is to really get honed in on this and CTC funded. So that's coming out of CT funds, saving the county that much more so it can go a little bit further, so I just wanted to point that out, because to me that's where the rubber meets the road at, is when you can really see the real numbers and the savings.
But the people of Jason Court, Wesley Court, Ginger Road, Faith Court, and Jamie Road send a special thank you. And thank you, Dale, because it's a job well done. Those roads are almost as good as being paved.
I'm there, it looks good.
So I'd like to thank you for what you're doing.
I do have one question, Chair.
All right.
Mr. Bobby, could you please explain to the people here where that money comes from? Because I understand where it comes from, but everybody sitting here does not understand where that money's come from and where the county has a big savings as far as what we're doing.
Yeah. 46 counties in the state, it's $250 million in gasoline tax. It's 3.9% per gallon that the state takes and divides it up with each one of the counties based on three different categories: population, road, miles, and one other. I can't think of this right now, but it's a 3.9% gasoline tax that each one of the counties get, like I said, based on their population. So, and I don't mind telling you because it's our money. We get close to a little over $1.3 million per year. And it's not a lot of money. One thing that's helped us, and you see some big numbers on here, $6 million. Periodically, Kent turns up some arms and twists some arms and bends some ears, and we get a donor bonus program, and it might be $1 million, it might be $2 million or $3 million. But this money that we're spending here is the state sends that gasoline tax to each county, and the county transportation committee is the one that's responsible for making sure that those funds are allocated to go on state right of ways, whether it's a dirt road, whether it's a primary road, secondary road. That's where this money's coming from.
Chairman, how about parking lots for recreations?
Negative. Negative, Ghost Rider.
Is there any money in the state?
No, that's a closed,
Not for parking.
that's a closed door right there.
Preparation, yeah.
All right, Mr. Rogers.
Upon a time, but they abused it. Yeah. So that's why they had to scrap that.
Yeah, so if we need to get some more money, we need to lean heavily on our senator over here. So
Mr. Rogers.
anyway,
Mr. Page, so how is it determined when a road will be resurfaced or full depth patching and drainage?
well, it depends on if you're talking about a primary road, one that's already got asphalt on it, or are we looking at a dirt road?
Well, I'm looking at the April 2024 slide that you have here. It says the English Park Road received full depth patching and drainage.
Yeah, when it's a state project, I send that over to the state. And Travis and his team comes in, like on English Park Road where it says full depth patching, is whenever they come in, depends on if the road, and with Lakuchi is another one that probably fall into that category. If the road is beat up pretty bad, the root system in the right of way, they'll come in. That full depth patching means they're going to go all the way down to the ground. They're going to churn it up, put it back down, and then come back over the top of it versus just resurfacing the road. When I say full depth patching, that means that road's in bad shape.
So,
Like 4180.
Yep.
Yeah.
so what was done to Sawney Road?
To Sunny Road.
Yeah.
That was full depth patching. King's Asphalt is working on that one. And that's down in your territory, isn't it? Yep, Sunny Road. I think from what is it? 918? Is that 908? 908. Yeah, I think King's Asphalt got that bid, and they're gonna do full depth patching on it also.
Any other questions?
Chairman, if I could just add to that, answer Councilman, Rogers' question. It's really determined by DOT and their engineers. And a lot of these roads are prioritized. And so they're kind of like on a resurfacing type schedule. And sometimes they have to move certain roads up on that priority list because of the severity of it. So the professionals make that determination whether that road will be reclaimed. And that's almost like building a new road, just like they did 4180. They reclaim that road because it's been like that in such bad shape for such long period of time. So they had to go in and actually reclaim it and rebuild that road, which means it is more expensive. It costs a lot more money. And we've really gotten behind in the state in resurfacing our roads because once upon a time, South Carolina had one of the best road systems in the country. But, you know, we got a little conservative in this state and we started cutting here and cutting there and putting things off. And now we've gotten in such bad shape, our roads. And I'm telling you, it'll be a long, long time before we get back to where we were in getting these roads in great conditions as Mr. Page stated. See, once upon a time, pre-pandemic, once a contract was let by DOT, that company, basically paving company, had 12 months to get that road resurfaced. Post-pandemic, 2 years. So, you know, people may call and says, well, what's going on with Highway 76 going out up towards Nichols? When is it going to be resurfaced? I said, well, it's under contract. Well, people take that, they will be coming in the next month or 2 or 3 months to get it done. But no, we let a contract in February. They have until like 2025 to get that road resurfaced. And we don't have the number of paving companies like we once had. And so they're kind of few and far in between. And so that's what's going on. But DOT makes that determination as to whether or not they will rebuild that road, just like the Lonia Road. You remember how bad a shape it was in, and it went like that for many, many years, and they had to rebuild that road. And let me tell you something, I'm not sure, but it costs what a mile now to resurface a road.
For a mile of road now, it's rented right at 1.3 million. And I will say this right here, working with the DOT over in Florence with Travis Springs, really going through Corey Johnson, working with Travis because Travis is the one that gives me the cost estimates and comes over when he's, Kent was alluding to the fact that engineers come in and really make a determination on what the road needs. Travis, I got tickled because Travis said, I don't know what's going on over in Marion County. He said, but we've never programmed so many roads over there that we have in the last few months. And deep down up underneath me, I'm sitting there saying, yes, that's what I want to hear. So anyway, trying to get it done. Anything else?
Yes, so will the other part of Eulonia Road be done?
Say that again now.
Will the other section of Eulonia Road?
I can answer that.
Mhm.
It will. They've done the section obviously from
The track?
41 to the railroad track, and so the next section from the railroad track, highway number 9, is will be done. They do it in sections, and a lot of people say, well, why they stopped over in Nichols going out, in Mullen, going out towards Nichols? But it doesn't mean when they put it on the contract, the entire road is under that contract. They do it in sections. So they'll come back and yes, they will complete along the road.
Mr. Floyd.
This is the senator. On our plans to keep increasing that gas tax over a few years, where we'll have more money for these projects.
Well, we will increase the gas tax. That's pretty much locked in when we pass the legislation, but it should generate more revenue as it goes along.
Was it's a state budget now gonna increase the amount of money for our county? You remember in the budget?
I can't remember exactly, but I think there is an increase for our local CTC committees.
Mr. Floyd, would you clarify yourself when you said we gonna increase?
Yeah, you. When I
State.
talk about our
State.
legislature.
State.
Yeah, state.
We're not going to increase the gas tax. That's locked in.
Councilman Gill.
To piggyback off what Senator Williams was just saying, it has been already programmed on the state end to do Highway 76 from where Palmetto stopped all the way to the bridge. Lumber River Bridge in Nichols. Also to do Highway 41 from Ellis Crossroads all the way down where it connects to Highway 41 again. This stuff is programmed in, but you got to understand at the same time, weather and everything else is a determining factor. And also how bad off a road is a determining factor. So I had the pleasure of sitting in on that meeting. I think it's probably 8 roads that's programmed to be paved in the next 2 years. And some of them are major intersections and major roads in Marion County. Old Nichols Highway from just outside the city limits of Mullins all the way to the country club where you take the right to go back into Nichols. That's in that same program. So it's there to be done. It just takes time. Main Street Mullins, yeah. That's in there too. So it takes a little time, but I understand it. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Page? Thank you for coming. We appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
Administrative update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chair, members of council, those of you in attendance today. I have a few announcements, so please bear with me. First, I would like to send our condolences to the family of W.H. Fisher, who is a former vice chair, board chair of the Zoning and Appeals Board. So again, his funeral is today at 2 p.m. and I would just like to send our condolences to him, his family. We also have a security update. As I mentioned a few months ago, we are increasing our security in this building in particular. What we're doing is building an enclosure for Miss Kathy, who is our front receptionist up front, so that, you know, as people come in, she has a barrier to protect herself or anybody that sits in that reception area. So that will be taking place. They're doing some measurements. We also are adding some keypads so that our employees can wear badges to swipe in and be identified as a Marion County employee. And those contractors are here doing some wiring. So you'll see some individuals in some bright green shirts. They're doing some wiring for our security. So I wanted to give you that update. Also, I am working with our Director of Planning and Zoning, Mr. Jonathan Rogers, who's here this morning, and updating our nuisance ordinance, not necessarily updating it, but enacting it. We've had several complaints throughout the county of dilapidated properties, overgrown bushes in different sections and different districts of our county. And I would like to put that in place. It was back in 2002 when this ordinance was put together, and it very well details what the county is liable to do and what type of measures that we want to put in place to make sure that our county is stays beautiful. So we are going to start enacting that with our code enforcement, looking around, looking at different areas in our county and making sure that people are following the rules. So I just want to let council know that. And if you have any concerns of your own in your own district, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to relay that message to our director in their department. I would also like to announce that the $2.5 million state appropriation that was appropriated by our Senator Kent Williams here this morning has been approved by the budget, by the state budget. And that $2.5 million will go toward our detention center expansion. We mentioned it a couple months ago that he was putting that appropriation in the state budget, and it was approved. So I'm very excited that that's going to go towards our detention center expansion. And we'll be doing some more community events talking about what it means to have an expansion for our detention center. So thank you, Mr. Senator Williams, for that. And finally, I'm also very pleased to announce, and I have my reinforcements here this morning. I have Diane Hall, who's the Executive Director of Trinity Behavioral Care, Ms. Judy, who's the Financial Director, with Trinity Behavior Care. Also, Ms. Suzanne Elvington with the Marion County School District. And also I have our Chief Terry Causey with the Sheriff's Department. And we would like to announce that the Opioid Recovery Fund did approve Marion County $439,848 for our opioid program. So I am so proud. Each county in South Carolina has the opportunity to apply for the opioid funding. It is no time frame on the application, but you do have to provide what type of programs and what type of funding that you will do within your county. So I do want to share with you a little bit of what Marion County is doing. And again, that is with the help of Trinity Behavior Care, Marion County School District, and our Sheriff's Department working together to make sure that we have funding to abate the opioid crisis in Marion County. So overdose is the leading cause of accidental deaths in the US using opioids. Whether it's prescribed illegally, comes with a significant risk of overdose. From 2020 to current, Marion County has experienced 137 total suspected overdoses, 4 fatal overdoses, and 98 Naxalon administered. The use of the South Carolina overdose map helps the county to identify hotspots within our county, indicating clusters of overdoses. Through the South Carolina Opioid Recovery Fund, it will allow for the expansion of prevention services targeting our youngest students using evidence-based programming, outreach efforts to educate our communities, and targeting high-risk areas known for drug use. It will also allow for our county to build an opioid response team to go out to communities after overdose has occurred to connect the substance abuse user and the family to the substance abuse outpatient treatment. The detention center medical providers and Trinity Behavior Care medical providers will work together to ensure once an inmate is released, medication assisted treatment programming continues. This grant will allow for substance abuse treatments and peer support services in the detention center, along with warm handoff to inmates, leaving the detention center to outpatient treatment services. The treatment services will assist with connecting clients to resources offered to the community, such as housing, employment, insurance, marketplace. These efforts will decrease Marion County Detention Center inmates' reactivism. The Sheriff's Department and Trinity Prevention Center team will provide Narcan distribution and overdose reversal education in high-risk communities. It is important for our community to understand that substance abuse is a chronic, relapsing brain disease that is preventable, treatable, not curable, and sometimes fatal. Just like any chronic disease, substance use disorders can become manageable with the right interventions, treatment, and support. Our goal is to save lives with the partnership between Marion County, the Sheriff's Office, Trinity Behavior Care, Marion County Schools, and the community will help support our mission to reduce the impact of substance use in our youth and community. So again, I am excited that we have the opportunity to make a difference in Marion County. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all the updates that I have.
Requests and comments by council members.
Chairman, I have one.
The floor.
I had someone to text me some information on a burned house in the county.
Okay.
Could you briefly tell me what the county would be doing today if someone came up and the house has been there 5 years? No one's done anything. Is there anything we can do?
For a burned house, is it?
It's burned down.
I would have to reflect Dow and our building and zoning. If it's a private property, the county really isn't liable. Unless, Senator, you have something different that we've done in the past.
I think you're right. If it's considered private property, Mr. Floyd, as you are very much aware, we cannot use public employees or equipment on private property. And the other thing you have to remember as well, a lot of times you have insurance involved. So, you know, if someone's house burns down and they have insurance, all that is considered within the insurance and the payoff. And so oftentimes there's money there to clean that up and what have you. What we have seen in the past, a lot of times people don't clean it up and leave it as is, and we've gotten calls like that in the past, and it's pretty much state law that you cannot go on private property. There again with public employees or public equipment. You know, there are times we like to assist, but we just can't by state law.
We have a nuisance ordinance.
And I was just gonna actually say that what we can do is enact our nuisance ordinance. So, you know, if it becomes an eyesore, if it, you know, is damaging property around it, we can then send code enforcement out and we can have a conversation with the property owner and work out a plan to make sure that that is removed.
And that gets a little tricky. And you all
It's
know
hard to prove.
It's hard to prove because you go to court, you
Yeah.
gotta prove and it gets a little tricky. When it comes to the enforcement aspect of
Yeah.
it. But as Ms. Watford has stated, we get code enforcement involved, go out, write a letter, you know, serve notices and what have you. But when you go to the next step, which would be the legal
Yeah.
step, it gets a little dicey.
It does.
Mr. Fox.
And that's also connected with our abandoned homes.
Yes.
Yes.
That's right. Exactly.
And exactly. Luckily, we have a judge here to.
All we need to do is get you the address.
Yes, sir. Give me the address. That's correct.
And the notice and what.
And then, like I said, in any properties within your districts, if you can provide me the addresses, then we can start making sure and going around and starting that process. I will say on record, it is not a fast process. It does take time because we have to get in touch with the owners. And a lot of times these property owners live out of the state. So if we can't find them, we have to send letters, wait for them to respond, you know, and have that paper trail of documentation and communication before we really even get legal involved.
And if I can add to that, that's something we're trying to address on the state level. There is a bill to address that will allow county governments to be able to deal with these dilapidated homes, these abandoned homes, these burned homes and what have you. And it passed the House and it got to the Senate. There's one senator that has held it up and it hasn't gone forward. We're pushing and trying to work through that. And we can get that bill passed and that will give you teeth to really enforce and really do something about it. And what that bill actually does is it kind of allows you to go in as a government, clean it up and put it on their tax bill. And it works well. It would work really well if we can do that. You know, it has come to that. I think it's a good bill. Cause you know, I don't think it's fair to people in these various neighborhoods when, you know, they have to see these eyesores all the times. And then a lot of times these places serve as drug houses and all kinds of things that are not good for the community. So it's something we're trying to address on the state level, and hopefully we can get that accomplished next.
You send somebody a bill, you get their attention.
You better put it on tax notice, and if they don't pay the taxes, then you know what that process the next level. So yeah, it's a good process.
Yeah,
and it's fair.
Any other questions or comments,
I do.
council member?
I don't.
Mr. Turner?
Thank you, Chairman.
Ms. Swafford, any report on the animal shelter?
We are actually having a animal shelter town hall meeting on July 18th. That's Thursday at 6 p.m. That is on our Facebook page. So we, again, and I'll send that out to you all again. We are having a town hall meeting to address some of the questions and concerns, give updates on the renovations and the different programs that we are running for the shelter. So again, that'll be Thursday, July 18th at 6 p.m. here in council chambers.
One more thing.
All right.
I'd like to thank Mr. Randy Brown and the Street Department of City of Marion. They cleaned up a whole bunch of, I won't say junk, it's trash on 41A. And they did, and I want to thank them right now. Thank you. That's it, Chair.
Any other requests or comments? Mr. Rogers.
Thank you. Madam Administrator, I saw the beautification team out. They were doing a great job in some intense heat, cleaning up different areas. My only concern was that they were wearing tennis shoes, going down in some ditches. So I was hoping that we can purchase some boots for them. Some of those areas, I know down in my end, there's a lot of snakes in some of those very heavily wooded areas, and they were going down into some canal areas and big, large outfall ditches, but they were doing a great job in some intense heat, and I want to just thank them for what they do for us. Been studying this issue about our long-term recovery group. When it met with the federal folks and their rural housing program and grants and loans. The federal program does not require homeowners to have homeowners insurance. Our Marion County program does, and that limits the number of people who need assistance from being able to qualify. So what I want to urge is that we take away that requirement. The federal government doesn't require it. I understand there were some concerns. I spoke with them about, well, what if you put a $20,000 roof on someone's home and then the house burns down? I understand that, but what I've seen visiting the county is that there's a lot of elderly people who on fixed incomes who need some small repairs, windows, things of that nature, and they do not qualify for the Marion County long-term recovery money because of that insurance requirement. In some areas like what's in Centenary, which is in my district, they're just getting the fire department restarted, but there's a whole lot of people in that area that on the highest ISO rating, they couldn't afford the insurance even if they wanted it. So I think that's something we need to look at for the benefit of our citizens to follow the federal model and not require homeowners insurance for home housing repair in the housing repair program. The third thing I want to mention, Horry Georgetown Technical College has been bringing their student CDL drivers to practice in my district, particularly on two residential roads, and it's becoming an issue in some cases because it's the stopping and the going. There was an issue about last weekend where the fire truck was ready to go. We were coming back in from a fire. We was going to bring two trucks in. The truck was, the student driver has the sign on the student driver, stopping, going, stopping, going. I have a concern about that. I don't know how we can raise that issue with Horry Georgetown Technical College, but they're practicing in Marion County on our roads. And the last thing I want to ask the administrator this on behalf of the county to send out condolences to St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church. They lost their pastor, Dr. Mac T. Hines, of 40 years. And just acknowledge to them that we share their sorrow at this time.
Yes, sir. I will do that.
That it? Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, we have two recommendation letters from PD on health work.
Okay. These are two proposed replacements for our mental health board. One of them is Agnes Dixon, Mullen Street, Marion, South Carolina. Another one is Keenan D. Feaster, Etchington. 630 Shannon Road, Marion, South Carolina. And they're proposed by this, State Health Department of Mental Health. That during a meeting of the PD Mental Health Center Board of Directors on June 27th, 24, the board unanimously voted to submit the following names to Marion County for consideration and nomination to Governor Henry McMaster for appointment to the PD Mental Health Board of Directors representing Marion County. So those are the two names that they have submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. The ayes have it. At this time, we need an executive session for economic development and a contractual matter.
So move.
Motion second, discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed likewise. The ayes have it. Thank everyone for coming for an update and a contractual matter. No action was taken. We need to now come out, we're coming out, we are now in open session. Is there any action that we need to take?
You need to come out, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, the ayes have it. What I hear from Marion County.
I'd like to see we adjourn, Chairman.